a week it's been. So much to talk about.
Women? No one cares about women's wrestling, man. The bullshit continues.
Listen up, wrestling fans.
That's right, listen up. This is Strong Honor, where we talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling and Ring of Honor. We got a lot to talk about this week.
What a week it's been. So much to talk about.
Taco and I were just talking before we came on the air here. And by the way, my name's Tommy Stryker. That's Taco.
What up?
Over there. I should mention before, I almost dove right in here. I'm really excited to talk about this stuff. We were talking just before the show that
oozing with excitement.
That the Wrestling Dontaku stuff felt like it happened almost a week ago, right? Thursday, Friday, whatever, last week. And so this is our first chance to talk about it on this show. So we're definitely going to get into all of that. So, but yeah, it's like, wow, it seems so long ago with so much wrestling that's been going on.
We watch a lot.
Yeah, with all we watch the WWE stuff too, like Backlash, Monday Night Raw, and SmackDown, and all that stuff. With all of that going on, it even without that, it still feels like a long time ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's all kinds of stuff from Dontaku to get into. Great matches to talk about. The best of the Super Juniors. We got the A and B block released. We're going to do our predictions for the entire tournament next week. We won't actually predict every match on the show for next week, but we'll throw out.
It will be a 5-hour-long podcast.
But
grab your popcorn.
We'll go through who we got in the finals and stuff like that. We're going to do
some caramel cakes.
We'll talk some predictions next week for Best of Super Juniors. I've got some early G1 Climax prognostications to get into this week on the show. I've been thinking about this a lot lately because the heavyweight division is just loaded right now, and so there's a lot of solid locks for the G1.
Yeah.
The current champions, guys that are in the top guys that are in the contentions for the championship, and then you got all the rest of the guys that are on the bubble. So we could talk about that a little bit this week, as well as Ring of Honor, TV, some shows coming up for them, and of course, Being the Elite back on YouTube from the Young Bucks and everybody on that show. So
with their own little Funko Pop figures, you see those things?
I did. That's something they've been talking about for a while now. They finally Did they finally come out, or they're coming out?
They're
soon?
all pre-ordered now, but I have a couple of them. People go nuts for these fucking things, though. But good for them, man. That's
that's one of those. Love it. It's one of those things that's like a collector's thing, and it's something that I just don't get at all. Like I'm like, what's the big deal about it? But people
They're just cheap little figures,
right? People get into it. People like to collect stuff like that. So exactly.
I got a Pickle Rick one.
I don't even know what that means, but all right. Anyway, let's jump into this Dontaku thing. Let's start with I don't even know where to start because there's so much cool stuff to get into. Let's start with the Okada Tanahashi one. That's the big match that, but I mean, there's so much to get into with the Naito and Jericho stuff too. But let's start with the Okada title defense against Hiroshi Tanahashi. A lot of people giving very high praise to this match. Taka, what were your thoughts on this match?
It was definitely one of those matches, especially with them coming, having it be Okada's coming full circle. He's steamrolled through everybody now, and we're right back to Tanahashi. So they had a lot to step up to, and they definitely did. They put on performance, especially for an event. We didn't really think much was gonna come out of it.
Yeah, and one of the things about the match for me, like I've only been watching New Japan since Wrestle Kingdom 9, and then I subscribed to New Japan World later that year, right around Dominion. And so I don't have this big familiarity with the feud between Okada and Tanahashi.
Yeah.
Like I don't go way back with this feud, and I haven't. I kick myself all the time for not going back and watching all of the matches in this thing. But one of the things that's great about this match is there's all kinds of callbacks to those old feuds or those old matches that went along the way. And so if you're like me and you're not familiar and you haven't had a chance to see all of those yet, I gotta recommend, and I've talked about it him on this show before, Showbuckle, who all of his videos used to be on YouTube, and he very recently, like the last month or so, got kicked off of YouTube. They took all of his videos down because he uses New Japan videos, and he recently started like a Patreon thing so that fans of his can pay him and he can make a little money off of this. Which honestly, I get New Japan wanting to, hey, that's our property. You can't make money off of it. So I understand that side of it. But I mean, hire the guy. That's what I think. New Japan ought to hire this guy because his videos are so good at explaining to the North American audience and the English speaking audience about these classic feuds in New Japan. So he got kicked off of YouTube, but you can find his stuff over on Vimeo. So I will post a link in the description for the show, and he's got a 2-part video on the Okada Tanahashi saga. And so what I did is, of course I watched the first time Tanahashi Okada, and then I heard all the praise about the match, because to me, I thought it was a really good match, but to me, it didn't stand out as like this epic thing that a lot of people were talking about. So I wanted to know more.
They built excitement for it. Like, I'm unfamiliar with their first match. I know they've done it. I didn't see the dance though. And
right.
They were able to paint such a good picture for me, and and put me in that position where it's like, okay, I have this knowledge of them, and I want to see what this situation is because it's new to me now. And I thought it was a fun match. And just for, we'll get into it, but the follow up after the results too. Yeah. It's just like, you just constant smile on your face, and it shows you why those two guys are just the best, and they represent a standard, and they back that up.
Yeah. But I 100% agree with everything you're saying, and I loved this match. I mean, on my initial watching, I still thought it was a 4.5-star match. I mean, I'm not dogging on this match at all. I'm just saying, for more context, watch there's two 10-minute videos on the Okada Tanahashi. I watched that.
I have to check these out.
And then I watched the match again with some of that context in there. I mean, obviously the best way would be to go back and watch all 6 prior matches or whatever it is, and get the full history. But if you want the quick version of their history, you can watch those 2 videos on their history, then watch the match again, or if you haven't watched it yet, watched it for the first time, and it just makes the match even better. One of the other things I liked about the match was the pacing, just because of what happened post-match. Like, this thing went like 30-40 minutes, something like that, 40-45, I don't know, I don't have the timestamp in front of me, but it felt like they were pacing it to go an hour, to possibly go for a draw, to get close to it. And that, of course, brought up memories of the Kenny Omega draw from a year ago at Dominion. And so that playing into what happens post-match, I just thought all of that was just so brilliant in the match itself. And then we can get into what happened in the post-match with Okada calling out Kenny Omega.
What?
I like how he cited, we had a draw at Dominion last year, and I have to get that back. And obviously the loss during the G1 Climax, so they're 1-1-1. 1 loss, 1 tie, and 1 draw for each guy.
Well, it's such a great way too to kind of keep people salivating over it, and yet giving us so much from these 2 guys, and out of the storylines that feuds that they've blossomed in the outcome, we could still be like, oh fuck, this is still happening, and be right back in that moment all over again.
Yeah,
it's rad.
Yeah, and I like how the attitude both of like Okada going into the, kind of to rewind a little bit, just him going into the Tanahashi match, playing that cockiness, playing that heel almost or whatever. Definitely playing the heel in the match. The crowd was so hot for Tanahashi in the match, but then post match, giving that respect to Tanahashi on the microphone, a little sarcastically,
right,
but still giving. Acknowledging that, saying that he was a tough opponent, and so who's next? How are we moving on with this? And then Kenny Omega, him coming out, not only accepting Okada's idea of let's do a no time limit match, but then Omega saying, well, that's good, that's well and good and everything, but let's make it 2 out of 3 falls as well. So the expectations for this match at Dominion are insane, because everybody's going to be expecting an hour plus insane,
right,
thing.
I even loved Okada in the post-match interview too. Him talking about, he's like, well, I don't really like it, but he accepted my terms. I'll accept his terms. Let's go.
Yep, exactly. Wasn't what I was expecting, but since I said yes to him, or since he said yes to me, I said yes to him. And then Omega coming, he's walking the line of respectful and being a little bit cocky Bullet Club heel guy, because like he'll be very respectful when he talks in Japanese, but then he'll start talking in English and he gets a little cocky. He's like, I'm the best in the world and I'm out to prove myself and da-da-da. You know, I'm surprised Okada picked me. You know, I haven't been challenging for singles titles lately. I'm doing my thing with Kota Ibushi. And so that kind of playing in that, you know, he wasn't really expecting Okada to call him out. But then him rising to the occasion and saying, yeah, I'm ready. And we're going to bring it come Dominion. So, man, yeah, fun. Dominion's shaping up to be an awesome show. I want to talk Kushida Osprey here eventually, another great match here, but let's not bury the big lead of Chris Jericho making his return to Fukuoka to attack Tetsuya Naito after the match with Suzuki Gun, masked Jericho coming out of the crowd dressed as Bushi or whatever, attacking Naito, making him bleed all over the place. Naito getting the blade job done by the referee, Red Shoes. I guess that was that ended up having to get like edited off of New Japan World because it was so obvious.
Right. Okay.
I guess, I didn't see it at all
because
I watched it on delay, of course. Yep. So I guess, but live it was like pretty painfully obvious that Red Shoes was helping Naito out with the blade job there. But wow, what great.
So well done.
And what great, I mean, the bloody face from Naito was just so spectacular.
Well, just going back a few, just the initial attack out of the crowd and, you know, in that alleyway, the crowd was absolutely stunned. Like, did someone really just fucking do this? Like, what the hell? You know, they don't get that shit that often, and it sticks out. And then it's revealed that's Chris Jericho. It's like, well, fucking goddamn it. You know, just an asshole from just a week ago. We're like, oh, yeah, it's Chris Jericho again. And now it's like, fucking, he's back. Like, I don't know how he transforms himself like that. Just so instant, and just the detail of the mask and the lipstick, you couldn't recognize him. It's just so unrecognizable.
Until he took that mask off or whatever. I didn't like, to me, I was able to avoid spoilers on everything except that Chris Jericho showed up when I watched that show on Friday night or whatever it was. So when Naito and LIJ are standing in the ring after the match, and all of a sudden all the other members of LIJ are leaving and Naito is standing there alone, I'm like, okay, something's happening here, obviously. And I was expecting it because I saw the spoiler. But I'm wondering how much that affected the believability. And it really took an awful long time for LIJ to come to the rescue.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping that we would get a post interview with them, like, oh, what? And then, like, running away to go save him. But this kind of nonchalantly came out, and even when he came back to whoop his ass some more, they're just nonchalantly like, get away, Jericho.
They're a little too tranquilo or whatever. But yeah, I was hoping when I watched the backstage post-match interviews or whatever that the rest of LIJ was in the back. Just, I think I threw it out there on Twitter or whatever. I was hoping they were back there doing their interviews and they don't realize what's going on until all of a sudden somebody rushes in and be like, hey, Naito's son's being messed up. Oh, we got to run out there. So I was hoping to get something like that, but no, I didn't. Or at least, you know, it would have made, because they just got done with a match with Suzuki Gun. So, I mean, Suzuki Gun could have done this massive attack after the match, leave everybody laying, and then, you know, here comes Jericho to lay out Naito even more. But they didn't do that. It was fine. It ended up really being about Naito getting, you know, smashed up by Jericho, and that was really the headline coming
Jericho
out of it anyway.
Was just so shocking. It was rad.
So I guess it's looking like they are definitely going to do this one at Dominion, which I was really kind of hoping, maybe not hoping, but I was thinking maybe they would save this for the G1 and USA card coming up in San Francisco. Ticket sales are a little slow, but New Japan isn't going to announce a card until they get through Dominion, through the next big event, because they don't. That's how they book. They don't book until the next big show is over and they're ready to reveal what's coming up at the next show. They're very they stick to kayfabe when it comes to that. So that might hurt the early ticket sales for the.
They're not going to burn you guys though.
Right. I mean, I'm sure. I'm sure we're probably going to get Rey Mysterio.
I think he's doing that Dominion too.
Yeah, he's been advertised for Dominion, so I gotta believe they're going to bring him in for the Cow Palace. And you'd think they would try to secure a guy like Jericho for that. That's a huge building out there, the 10,000 plus seat arena for wrestling. So you'd think they'd try to bring Jericho right back as well to try to put some butts in the seats out there in San Francisco. But so you've got some potential matchups there and some potential big returns. I mean, so much hinges on what happens at this Dominion show.
What if Jericho wins the Intercontinental Championship?
What if Kenny Omega wins the IWGP Championship? In this 2 out of 3 falls thing.
God, it just sounds so awesome.
I did see some speculation from one of our Twitter friends, Kyla at Omega Moxley, and she was saying, what if this comes full circle with Kenny and Kota Ibushi, and Kota Ibushi interferes in the match or somehow distracts Kenny and causes him to lose or whatever? And I instantly replied, did Vince Russo hack your Twitter thing? I wasn't sure.
My botch.
But there's something to a possibility there, and I keep thinking about this when it comes to this Dominion match and this 2 out of 3 falls and this hour plus possibility of a match. What if it's something a little more, not quite as Russo-y as because the Golden Lovers love each other. Ibushi genuinely loves Kenny Omega, and what if the beatdown towards the end of the match is so severe and Kenny's not giving up and Kenny won't give up that they do a callback to the Cody spot in the hour draw a year ago, but this time it's Kota Ibushi feeling so much sympathy and feeling so bad for this awful beatdown on Kenny Omega that Kota Ibushi throws in the towel, causing the loss, and that causing the friction between
But it's a golden towel.
the Golden Lovers. But again, we talk about it on this show all the time, how it's the long con, as you say. It's the long-term storytelling. With the Golden Lovers just getting back together, it feels so soon to break them up or to even go down that road. But, I mean, this could be the first morsel in that story.
But with the Golden Lovers case, though, it's like, how long can you really keep them as a tag team without just throwing all the championships on them?
Well, right. Both of them being like amazing potential for singles stars. Obviously, like Kenny is arguably the number 2 or number 3 guy in the company. So to get them both doing more stuff singles wise is smart. Obviously, they're probably going to be, I got them both as locks in the G1, Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi. What if they are in the same block?
Ooh, so fun.
And especially if you do some kind of little angle like that during this hour-long match, which again, it's an hour long. You're gonna need a little bit of smoke and mirrors. You're gonna need Bullet Club running down and doing some shit. The Young Bucks, all the shit going on with Cody, of course, is going to come into play. And if Cody's there, of course, Kota Ibushi is gonna be there. So, so much to talk about on the Bullet Club side of things and what happened there on the night, the first night of Dontaku. But before we get to that, let's talk about. We're kind of all over the place here, but
that happens.
Eventually, we'll probably, hopefully, get to all of it. But let's talk Kushida versus Will Ospreay for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title. Wow, what a great match! I gave this 4 3/4, just under 5 stars. You could argue 5 all day long, and people are throwing 5 at the main event from Tanahashi and Okada as well. I'm not going to argue with that. I'm just giving you my opinion on these things. I actually just yesterday rewatched their Best of Super Juniors final from a year ago because that's the free matchup on NJPW World.
Smart.
So I watched that, and my God, that was a great fucking match too. These two, anytime they get together, and I would even venture to say that one maybe was even a little better than this one. But wow, this match was really good too. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I've nothing really to add to it. It's just, these guys, they just know how to work well, together, and it's always something magical that they throw in there. Something I repeat on a weekly basis is like I want something else out of Kushida now. Like, he's just kind of getting boring to me image wise. Just his ring work is phenomenal. He's so fun to watch, but I love Back to the Future, but come on, man. It was fun at first.
Well, what I really liked about this match is they had a little bit of heat going into it, with Kushida getting a little nasty in the tag match the night before, and Osprey was all pissed off going into the match saying, fuck that, I'm going in to hurt you now, buddy. And they go in, they have this intense match, and even Kushida towards the end of the match is getting so frustrated he just starts fucking stomping on Osprey's neck or whatever. You know, that was a cool moment that with Kushida getting a little desperate there, not being able to put him away. So I liked that moment from Kushida. Osprey using his new finisher, the Stormbreaker.
It's awesome.
Yeah, to get the win in the match was great. The that flipping DDT that Osprey did was fucking amazing. Yeah, just awesome spots in the match. Obviously,
these guys are always so fun to watch.
The baseball punch spot from Kushida, where you know it was just insane exchange going into it, and all of a sudden Osprey's hitting the ropes, hits the baseball punch out of nowhere. Kushida does, and Osprey just folds up like he's been knocked the fuck out. You know, that was amazing. And then the Osprey countering that second rope back to the future into a springboard cutter deal. Just what the fuck, you know? And then the post match, of course, Osprey getting the win, retaining the belt, and then Tama Tonga coming out and introducing the new Bone Soldier, as speculated upon by Dave Meltzer at the Wrestling Observer. It indeed was Taiji Ishimori. Wow, what a great looking physique on that guy.
Yeah,
I thought it was cool. I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to do at Best of Super Juniors. So
yeah, he fucking awesome cat. I know he was tearing it up in Impact there for a little bit.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to see what he does. The whole Bone Soldier thing, you know, me and you were just at least like, ugh, it's going to be a Cody thing. What the fuck are they going with it? No, I'm so glad it's a Bullet Club thing, you know, and Tama Tonga's, you know, I love it when that dude's on the microphone. He's so fun, you know, he's killing it. And
I actually heard some negativity when it came to Tama Tonga introducing him and doing all. I thought he did a great job.
God, I want him to be like the fucking mouthpiece for this cat, because, you know, just this Bone Soldier thing. I was kind of sour on it first. I was, but you know, it's blossoming into something fucking awesome. Just not for Ishimori, but for Bullet Club too. And you know, got another small guy to fucking tear it up a little bit. And yeah, I'm excited for this.
Yeah, should be some really good stuff. Let's move back over to night one and tackle some of the main attractions or whatever. Night one was all about the Bullet Club, basically. The main event, Hangman Page versus Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega getting a hard-fought win against Hangman Page. So, again, Hangman Page, a relative unknown in that part of Japan, and having this long battle, this intense battle with Kenny Omega really puts Hangman Page on the map in New Japan.
Always impressing.
Yeah. And then, of course, Kenny Omega getting a little momentum singles-wise going into the match with Kazuchika Okada. I thought Page and Omega was a 4-star match. I thought that was pretty dang good. And then Kota Ibushi versus Cody. Yeah. That hit me out of nowhere. I had that match at the Tokyo Dome was really nothing memorable, really, in my opinion. And this kind of came out of nowhere. And this, to me, is probably Cody's best match since leaving WWE. And yeah, he had a great dancing partner in Kota Ibushi. And, you know, it was one of those things, you know, when Cody got the win over Kenny Omega at Supercard of Honor, I was like, ugh, I didn't like it. It left a bad taste in my mouth. Even though they did the gimmick with the Young Bucks, you know, trying to kick Cody in the face and kicking the wrong guy, all the smoke and mirrors, all the insanity. But this one was a straight up clean win with Cody winning with Dense Fire, his version of the Vertebreaker, which I've seen some criticism on because he didn't execute it all that well. I tend to agree with that. But, I mean, Kota Ibushi can take something that was kind of shitty looking and still make it look pretty good. And Kota Ibushi ran around and made Cody look great in this match, I thought. So, yeah, Cody's best match in New Japan, certainly, I thought. What any thoughts from you on the match? Yeah,
I liked the direction they went with it. I'm I'm a fan of Cody, so but no, I agree with you that it was the better of the two showings in their little feud that they got going on.
Taking two double stomps through a table didn't hurt either.
Yeah.
In the match, get a little almost some sympathy on Cody in that thing, which was unique.
He's just, he's such a great heel.
Didn't talk about in the match with Hangman Page either. Kenny Omega busting open the top of his head on the table spot right away in the match with Hangman. It was interesting because he had two Bullet Club. I guess Kota Ibushi isn't technically in Bullet Club, but being teamed up with Omega or whatever. I thought it was interesting that they did two table spots on the same show, and then again Kenny Omega. Seemingly unplanned bleeding with him busting his head on the table because it looked like it was, I swear to God, it looked like it was just Hangman Page's knees that busted the table up. So I don't know if it was a blade job or whatever on the top of his head, or if it was actually him busting his head open on the table like that. Either way, whatever, it's fine because it just added to the drama of that match with Page. So just wanted to jump back to that real quick. Let's talk about this undercard from the first night. Yujiro and Chase getting a win over Yota Tsuji and Shota Umino. Chase goes over Umino with the package pile driver. Yota Tsuji is a very hard hitter for one of the new young lions. Apparently he spent a year in the New Japan dojo before having his first match. Thank you for that information, Kevin Kelly, on commentary. But I like how they throw little wins in here for Chase Owens every so often.
He needs them.
In these opening matches. Taguchi, Tiger Mask, and Jushin Thunder Liger beat Yuji Nagata, Tomoyuki Oka, and Ren Narita. God damn it, I didn't get my Tomoyuki Oka and Yuji Nagata chest bump arm dance gimmick that I was talking about last week. As soon as I start talking about it, they don't do it anymore.
Let's not do that no more.
Now I'm left craving more chest bump dance. But Taguchi gets the win here over Narita with the Dodon. So again, getting his finisher over going into Best of Super Juniors. I want to talk about Taguchi's backstage promo here, just going into the final night, actually, because the second night in his prelim match, he got another win over but the Young Lion countered the Dodon, but Taguchi got the win with his, submitted the Young Lion with the ankle lock. So two wins for Taguchi on the undercard of these Dontaku shows. But post-match on the second night, he talks about, it's a big day for Taguchi Japan. I got two guys in the main event going for titles. Hopefully they bring titles back to Taguchi Japan, talking about Kushida and Tanahashi. Because the gimmick of Taguchi Japan is that everybody that's not in a faction, Bullet Club, Chaos, Suzuki Gun, if you're not in any of those factions, you're in Taguchi Japan. Even though you probably want nothing to, they just throw these guys in random tags into, you're Taguchi Japan or whatever.
I'm the coach. Come on.
So he's the coach. He's hoping that that Tanahashi and Kushida bring the gold to Taguchi Japan. And he says, well, if they don't, as the coach, I'll take the blame. And before they fire me, I will resign. But then he's like, oh, wait, I can't resign. I've got all this Taguchi Japan merchandise coming. And so I can't resign because I have to sell the merchandise. So first I'll sell the merchandise. And then if I have to, then I'll resign. But I have to sell all the merchandise first. And then they're like, the reporters keep asking him, so are you going to be a part of the Best of Super Juniors? He's like, I don't know if I'm going to be in Best of Super Juniors because it hadn't been released yet. I'd really like to be in Best of Super Juniors because if I'm in the Best of Super Juniors, it would be a great honor and I'll work very hard and I will probably sell a lot of merchandise. So Taguchi just cracking me up. He's a goofball, especially in the ring. But the backstage interviews are completely straight-faced and serious, but just talking all this good. I'm going to have to resign as coach before they fire me, but I got to sell the merchandise because that's my job.
Yeah, sell that merch.
I have to do what they tell me. I have to do what I am assigned to do. So is what he says. So I just get a kick out of Taguchi nights 1 and 2. Rocky Romero and Roppongi 3K continue their little roll against Suzuki Gun. This time it was I thought this was unique versus Iizuka and the Killer Elite Squad, the huge heavyweights, of Suzuki Gun, and it was unique. You don't see, they get into the Suzuki Gun brawling right away, and then Iizuka's going for his iron fingers right off the bat. Sho counters it, rolls him up 1, 2, 3, like a minute, 2 minutes into the match. So I thought it was unique. I thought it gave them a momentum building win, even though I'm still kind of on the fence about Sho and Yo, but they're giving these guys some wins against some credible Suzuki Gun opponents along the way.
They're getting better. Like even like the backstage promos, they got a little bit more freedom and loosening it up and kind of catching their vibe, I want to say. So I'm digging this Roppongi 3K.
Well, and even jumping to night 2, they take on Iizuka, Taka Michinoku, and Tai Chi, and the whole thing has been about Sho countering the bullshit, the iron fingers. He's like, I'm never going to let him use them iron fingers again, and so it's always about Sho countering the iron fingers somehow. The second night they got the win over Taka Michinoku with their 3K maneuver. I'm not a huge fan of their 3K because it's just basically a 3D or whatever. So I mean, it's the 3D is more impressive if it's the 90s and it's two big guys like Bubba Ray and Devon Dudley. But two junior heavyweights, I don't know, not so much. But
we know who you're fans of,
right? But so I like them getting some momentum here. We'll see where it leads. Obviously, they're trying to build these guys back up into the junior heavyweight junior heavyweight tag title scene or whatever. But Best of Super Juniors come right around the corner. We'll see how they do there. I don't expect them either one to do really well in the tournament.
Some good matches out of them though.
Right. I think we'll get some story development along the way with the other Suzuki Gun Junior guys, and we'll see some further developments leading to probably more tag matches for them guys down the road. Makabe Hinare teamed up with Elgin, Juice, and Finlay on night 1. Big 10-man here versus Goto, Ishii, Yano, Yoshihashi, and Jay White. All the stuff from the both nights is basically, it's still Hinare facing off with Ishii, continuing to fail but looking good. I mean, he took like a hellacious clothesline in a loss on one of these shows. Just a brutal-looking lariat and a brainbuster. I believe it was that was the first night, wasn't it? Looking at the Hinare and Jay White. No, it was Jay White getting the win with the switchblade over Hinare. But either way, it was interesting seeing Hinare and Jay White face off a little bit in the match. But then it became all about Juice staring down Jay White. And then night 2, it was Jay White trying to hit the switchblade on Juice, and Juice kind of thwarting that attack. And then Juice continues to cut these fun backstage babyface promos where he's all fired up, talking about, I've gone for championships before, but the difference is I respected those guys. I respect Goto. I respect Kenny Omega. But, man, you come out of nowhere attacking me from behind. We were supposed to be buddies. We were hanging out in the dojo together and all that. But then you go away to Ring of Honor for a year, and you come back acting all cute and shit. He's like, fuck that. I'm going to kick your silly little ass. So I get a kick out of the Juice promos.
Yeah, he's great.
Building up to this match, so that'll be a fun one. Possibly also on. Did they release? I don't think they announced this one for Dominion officially yet, and I didn't look to see if they've got a card. Let me take a look here to see if they've actually announced that one yet. Since I've got things brewing here. See here, we got the Lionsgate show, Best of Super Juniors. I gotta fast forward to there we go. Match lineup for Dominion: Osaka Joe Hall. Looks like the only one they've got here is Okada and Kenny. No, we got a few other ones here.
Say they announced a couple.
Yep, Young Bucks are going to challenge for the heavyweight tag titles.
That's right.
The 3-way is on for Goto's Never Openweight versus Elgin and Tai Chi. Mysterio has been announced for the show. Mystery partner still at this point.
Is it still that sexy black and white photo of him?
Yep. But yeah, nothing for the U.S. title yet, so maybe they hold off on that.
Still got some time to hype stuff up.
Right. But I mean, again, this is going to be a loaded show, Dominion, so maybe they hold that U.S. title match off for the G1 special in the United States, so we will see there. Let's see. Other stuff from the first night. The Young Bucks got the never openweight 6-man titles off of the Gorillas of Destiny and Bad Luck Fale. Young Bucks and Marty Scurll got that the win in that match. Again, a cool match because it was cool seeing Nick Jackson face off with Tama Tonga in the match. You had this on night 2. You had the big 10-man tag. I think the bigger story is there. I mean, it was nice with the Young Bucks and Scurll getting the win in this match versus Gorillas of Destiny and Bad Luck Fale.
Scurll's gonna body slam Fale.
Right. But the Goto and the Gorillas showing the respect to those guys after they won the titles, handing them the belts. And then the big story was night 2, the 10-man Team Cody versus Team Kenny. Kenny and Cody end up chasing each other to the back, and then after the match itself, after Scurll tries body slamming Fale, he ends up taking the pin from Fale. But then it was the big, huge 2 sweet from everybody, including the Young Bucks, which was a big, like, oh my God moment. Because of the whole cease and desist thing, which the cease and desist was more about the Young Bucks, selling merch and T-shirts and whatnot with the symbol on there, and plus it's in New Japan.
It's good to play. It plays into it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's sold more T-shirts.
The whole thing it's just cool because they got away from doing the 2 sweet, and so them saving it for a special moment like this when the Bullet Club shows its unity outside of Kenny and Cody, which I thought was a cool kind of needed moment for the Bullet Club.
I know they had a big giant photo too in the back without either of them too, and a lot of people were salty about, and it's just like, hey man, it's the status right now. It's how it is.
And I mean, we've had the first match of those two, Omega and Cody, but obviously we're still telling that story. We'll see what happens at Dominion between Okada and Kenny if Cody or Ibushi or anybody gets involved. There's a lot of stories to tell between now, Dominion, the G1 Climax. We'll see what happens there, and then All In September 1st post G1.
Ooh.
I mean, I think that certainly is a possibility for a culmination of this feud, but then the possibility of those two facing off in the G1 itself, or even at the G1 in San Francisco show. That could, I mean, with you have an angle coming out of Dominion that leads to those two facing off in that building, trying to put butts in the seats of the Cow Palace. So, lots and lots of stuff to get into there. I think we pretty much covered all the undercard stuff from both the Dontaku shows then. So let's talk about this Best of Super Juniors lineup that came out. Very exciting stuff. We got our A block. ACH is going to be back. I was really hoping for that, so I'm excited to see him back in there.
Don't worry, I didn't proofread this.
What's that?
I didn't proofread this at all.
Okay, well, I did. I got my Taco printed out a nice schedule of the A and B block and all the matches. So, but I did write it down just in case you didn't come prepared this week. But you came with guns a-blazing. But if we're incorrect on anything, I'm sure someone will be quick to correct us. But yeah, cool that ACH is back in the A block.
Yep.
Bushi is in the A block with Flip Gordon, Taiji Ishimori in there, Tiger Mask, Will Ospreay, the current champ, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, and Yo of Roppongi 3K. So some really cool matchups there. Flip Gordon and Ishimori. Ishimori's going to take on the current champ, Will Ospreay, the first night of the tournament. That's going to be really good. And look for they like to book some upsets early on in these tournaments too. So and that could be
trying to make him look like a strong figure. That's the way to do it.
Right. But also, I mean, I've gotten worked by that fact before as well, where I thought I predicted an early upset, and then instead they had a really competitive match, but then the guy that should have won would get the win. So it really could go either way there, but good stuff early on there. Then in the B block, Chris Sabin coming to New Japan. That was a surprise to me, and I'm really looking forward to see how he does in some singles matches here. Dragon Lee in the B block with Hiromu Takahashi, of course. Those two facing off once again is going to be really cool. El Desperado, Kushida. I mean, just Kushida versus Hiromu again is going to be great. Kushida, Dragon Lee, Mark Marty Scurll is in that block, so Scurll and Kushida, Scurll and Desperado and Dragon Lee, or Scurll and Chris Sabin even is an interesting matchup. And where is Scurll at this point? Well, I guess there's a I was going to say, no, Scurll's match at Best in the World is until after Best of the Super Juniors. But remember, Ring of Honor is building Scurll up for a big title match at Best in the World. That's later in June. That's June 29th. So that'll be. And when is Dominion? Dominion's earlier, so we'll see what happens with Scurll here. Best of Super Juniors wise,
have a heavyweight champion in that match, though.
right. It'd be but of course he's not going for that belt till after. So Taguchi is in the B block, and then Sho is also in there. So I think I got everybody there. Night 2 of the B block opening round: Takahashi versus Scurll in the main event. Kushida versus Sabin in a bit of a dream match there, or certainly one that we haven't seen, certainly not in New Japan before there. So some fun stuff there. So we'll get our predictions, put those together for next week's show, and we'll talk about that more as we go forward. Speaking of going forward here, I wanted to put a little programming note here, and maybe I'll bring it up again at the end of the show. Next week, it's going to be business as usual here for Strong Honor. We're going to record on Wednesday as usual. The show will drop early Thursday morning, anytime on Thursday for people to listen to. But the week after that, I'm on vacation. It's my big, my 10-year anniversary. My wife and I are going off to New York. I'm not going to be watching any wrestling probably.
No.
Which sucks because it's the Best of the Super Juniors. So I'm going to try to squeeze in as much as I can here and there. And so we're going to be off for a week there, unless Taco and Joe can kind of finagle a way to record a podcast on their own, which that's up to you guys. If you want to,
maybe we'll try to work something out.
If you guys want to try to make something happen, I'll definitely, you can send that over to me in a Dropbox, and we'll put.
Why are the ratings drop in a week, you guys?
But potential bonus episode from Taco and Joe in 2 weeks. We'll see what happens. But tentatively, nothing scheduled for 2 weeks from now, and then we'll try to get caught up the week after that. But for me, it might be difficult, so I might be relying on you and Joe a little bit to get me caught up on my Best of Super Juniors standings coming back from a vacation where I plan on not watching much, if any, wrestling whatsoever. So so there is that. I feel like I'm forgetting something big here, just because we kind of covered Dominion, or not Dominion, but covered that pretty quickly there. I mean, we didn't really mention that the Young Bucks are going to challenge Evil and Sonata. That was the same night that they won the Never Six-Man titles. They came out after the Los Ingobernables match and challenged Evil and Sonata, hit them with a couple of super kicks, and got the hell out of there after Naito and the rest of LIJ chased them out of there. So they got a big momentum building win, winning those Never belts, going into the match with Evil and Sonata. That should be a really good match, by the way. Sonata with his athleticism.
That's for Dominion?
That's at Dominion, yeah.
God damn.
So that's going to be really good. And I just like the matchup of the seeing what the Bucks can bring out of a guy like Sonata.
Yeah.
And Evil's going to mix it up in there really good too. Goto, Elgin, and Tai Chi is official for Dominion as well. Tai Chi, man, dragging those guys to the back, beating the shit out of Goto with his mic stand, talking his shit.
Yeah.
Elgin getting in his face a bit, and the fact that Tai Chi is in that match with those two motherfuckers just makes me so happy. I am in this case, I am an unapologetic Suzuki Gun fan. Goto does nothing for me. My hatred for Michael Elgin is well documented on this show, so there is all of that. Naito and Jericho, of course, looks like it's going to be a straight up match at this point. No stipulation announced, so I like that. We got the smoke and mirrors of the no DQ match at the Tokyo Dome. Everybody's curious, can Chris Jericho go in a straight up singles match? So, and then of course the No time limit, 2 out of 3 falls, Okada and Omega. And we did mention Mysterio, no partner or no opponent.
Probably the Liger match.
Probably the Liger match, and then possibly leading to a Will Ospreay match at the Cow Palace. But they could save Mysterio Liger for the Cow Palace as well. But I really, it's probably, come to think about it, Ospreay is probably going to have to face the winner of the Best of Super Juniors. That's traditionally what happens at Dominion, unless Ospreay wins it, then maybe he challenges Rey Mysterio here. So we'll see how things go. Okay, so let's move on. Not quite to Ring of Honor just yet, but I want to talk about my G1 prognostications.
Ooh.
I got to take a sip here for the...
Man, you have been thinking about this stuff.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Excuse me, for Best of Super Juniors, and it's got me really thinking about, man, G1 is right around, that thing starts like middle of July.
Yep.
We're like a couple of months away from this
sneak up
thing.
on us.
Yeah, I swear to God, I keep a whiteboard here in the studio where I got, the next months or so shows coming up for everything, and the one on the very bottom is WWE's Extreme Rules on July 15th. So, I believe the G1 starts like right after that. So, we're not too far off here from the G1. So, I wanted to put down guys that I thought were absolute locks for the G1 this year. And I got 14 names. Now, keep in mind, there are only 20 spots in the G1. There's 2 blocks, A and B block.
A block.
And the B block.
B block.
We're talking G1 Climax here. Of course, G1 Climax.
G1 Climax.
Got the classics there, but yeah,
Vintage.
So with the 2 blocks, 10 guys in each block. Same thing as Best of Super Juniors. Only Super Juniors has 8 guys in each block. So I got 14 locks. So that leaves only 6 open spots. So who I got as locks, of course, Okada, current IWGP champion on a historic run. Tetsuya Naito, arguably number 2 in the company right now. Kenny Omega, arguably number 2 or 3 in the company as well. Hiro Okigoto, I got him as a lock just because he's had that long run.
Just got to throw his name down.
He's a guy. He's had the Never Openweight Championship for the first half of the year, so he's got to be in the mix. Jay White, current United States champion, got to be in the mix. Minoru Suzuki, huge star, just lost the Intercontinental Championship.
And pissed.
Very, very angry. Zack Sabre Jr. recently challenged Okada after
Dominant run.
And after winning the New Japan Cup. Of course, he's going to be in it. Of course, the former ace just challenged Okada for the championship, Hiroshi Tanahashi. Don't forget Chaos Stable, what am I trying to say? Don't forget Tomohiro Ishii. Don't sleep on that guy. He hasn't been in a title mix in a long time, but he's a guy who just shines in these big singles matches in the G1 tournament. Sonata, of course, of Los Ingobernables. I got him in there. Evil, his tag team partner. Both of those guys were in it last year. They're trying to give these guys a push. These guys are part of the future of New Japan. I think those guys...
Evil got that big win last year's.
Yep. Yeah, Evil had a hell of a G1 last year, and I think people want to see what Sonata can do this year, if he can improve. People had big expectations for Sonata, including myself. So I got both of those guys as locks. I got Juice Robinson as a lock.
All right.
I think he's having a hell of a year. I think he deserves to be in there. He was a guy. Was he in it last year? Fuck, I can't remember if he was in there last year.
So, I feel like he faced Kenny Omega at one point.
That's right. Yeah, he got the win over Kenny Omega, and that's how he earned.
I was like, slowly connect the dots.
Yes. He got the big surprise win, countering the One-Winged Angel, rolling Kenny Omega up, and that led to his title shot in September, and he lost that opportunity. But Juice Robinson, of course. So I think he's a lock to be in it. And then I got Cody, but with a question mark. I don't know if he is a lock yet, but he was a guy that was supposed to be in it last year, but he was the Ring of Honor champion, and Ring of Honor didn't want their champion taking losses in the G1.
Sure.
So I think Cody is probably a lock this year, especially with everything that's going on Bullet Club-wise, and of course, what's going on with Kenny Omega. Then I got a huge list of potentials here. Remember, out of my locks, I've only got 6 spots left. So Here's who I got on the bubble. Here's who I have starred or highlighted, rather, of guys that are on the bubble. Hangman Page.
That'd be fun.
Still kind of new to New Japan. Still, with that match just recently against Kenny Omega. Still making waves, gaining popularity, but still really new to the New Japan audience.
Such a good way to cycle him through all your talent real quick.
Exactly.
Have meaning, but no meaning at the same time.
Right. He could go on like an Elgin-like performance last year where he lost a lot of matches but looked really good in some matches. So he's a potential. Perennial G1 Climax entrant Toru Yano. I've got him on the bubble just because he's a guy that causes a lot of ire amongst New Japan fans. They hate him being in the tournament, especially when I got a long ass list of like 23 names as potentials here. They hate a guy like him because he takes up a spot. He's just a goofball, but I like that he changes things up and just that it throws in a goofy match, every other night. And so, and you never know when he plays spoiler how he fucks up the points.
That's exactly. You need that guy in there to be a believable spoiler. Where it's like, how does this motherfucker do it? And fucking perfect. He's got to be in it.
Also on the bubble, I have Michael Elgin. Again, I'm well documented. My
bubble
feelings on
looking like a bubble.
But I do not. I don't want him in. But he was in before. Obviously, New Japan's doing a little something with him with this Never situation with Goto, so he could be there. I do want to bring up something that somebody brought up to me on Twitter. Fan of the show. I got to get his Twitter handle up because he puts us over and Best Pro Wrestling every week. Magnets and Steel is his name, but that's not his Twitter handle. Hang on here. I'll get him to him in a second. Hang on there.
We have good memories, we do.
Yeah, I know I'm horrible. I'm bad at Twitter. I'm bad at social media. I'm bad at remembering names. I have to call guys Clinton Dix.
Clinton Dix.
Of course. Okay. I can't find him. Give me a minute here. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to my notifications.
I think people are still screaming at you for not knowing who Pickle Rick is.
I think you're probably right there. All right, where the hell is he? Come on now. God, he puts us over so hard every week. I just want to put the guy over. Well, basically, I'm going to still keep looking for him here. Here he is. He's got a weird Twitter handle. It's DEJKARKBY. Magnuts and Steel is his name on there. Anyway, he puts us over every week. But he raised a really interesting question because we talked about how we don't like the fat shaming of Nia Jax over on Best Pro Wrestling Podcast in the build up to the match between Clinton Dix and her Alexa Bliss or whatever, that whole storyline, and how I enjoyed Tai Chi doing the quote unquote fat shaming of Michael Elgin. And so he brought up my hypocrisy there, and I fully acknowledge that there is hypocrisy there. I think the difference being that that Michael Elgin really isn't actually fat. He's just fucking thick as hell.
Just round.
And Tai Chi is a goofball, and Michael and it's different because Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss are known as very good friends and being very friendly with each other, and this is more of a heat at WWE for telling bad stories, I like Tai Chi calling Michael Elgin fat and a piece of shit because I think Michael Elgin is a well-documented asshole and piece of shit.
And he has like big old like banana fingers too.
Well, again, I'm not going to. I'm going to refrain from the body shaming just to maintain some sort of credibility when talking about my own hypocrisy or whatever. But yeah, fuck Michael Elgin. That's basically what I'm trying to say here. So,
Jeff Cobb is one powerful motherfucker.
I can't. Anyway, it's been one of those shows, right?
My botch.
Whatever. It is what it is.
Fuck Michael Elgin.
In all fairness, Jeff Cobb, he has a pretty round head too.
So, anyway, back to my...
They're thick is what I'm saying.
Exactly.
I like him.
Yes.
I like Jeff Cobb. He's a beast.
I love Jeff Cobb. He's a guy that actually didn't make my list.
Yeah,
here.
there you go. Is Chucky T on that list? He better be. He better be on that fucking list.
Well, let me get into my other guys on the bubbles because I put six guys on the bubble because there's 6 open spots. So Elgin's one. I got Tai Chi on the bubble with what he's doing in the Never situation. He could be a potential, upsetter guy like a Toru Yano with all the Suzuki Gun shenanigans. So if Yano's out, perhaps Tai Chi is in that spot. I got Toa Henare in there as a potential. Yeah. I'd like to see him in there. He's another guy that could take some losses in the tournament, but look really good, look really credible along the way, and maybe perhaps get that much ballyhooed win against Tomohiro Ishii.
Finally.
And then also on the bubble, Yoshihashi.
I was gonna say your favorite, Yoshihashi. You haven't said him yet.
He's a guy that's been in there several times, but again, not a guy I care for much, but a guy that can take some losses. But again, because he's been there before, could make an appearance again.
I have a love-hate relationship with him.
You mentioned Jeff Cobb, who I will definitely put on my list at some point, but I don't have a pen on me. But yeah, this list is going to be something that is ongoing until the G1, of course. But here are so those are my 6 bubble guys with the 6 open spots. Here are the other names for possibilities I got in this thing. You got the Young Bucks, new heavyweights. Those are potential guys for being in the G1. Of course, Lance Archer, Davey Boy Smith Jr., 2 big hosses that could potentially be in this thing. I do have Beretta written down. Is he going to be back from his injury?
That's right.
By then,
and he's a super heavyweight.
And if you're talking Beretta, of course, you got to talk Chucky T. I don't think Chucky T is in, but based on who I've got on the bubble and everybody else on this list,
I know.
I just don't think Chucky T
busy man.
is going to be in there. I've got as a potential Kushida. Kushida is a guy, junior heavyweight guy, talked about loving the junior heavyweight division. Actually, and when Tama Tonga came out talking about, he didn't say junior heavyweight. He said junior weights or cruiser weights or whatever. And Kushida took issue with that. So Kushida is coming to the defense of the junior division, but I don't think it's unprecedented to put a junior heavyweight in the G1.
That's what I'm saying is Kushida, I want... I don't know. I don't want to say it in an insulting way, but I want more out of him because he is so fucking awesome. But this would be such a fun direction for him. He's kind of the underdog situation. That's what makes him stick out to me. When he was on top, the champion with a trophy in one hand, that's probably the least I was interested in him. It's like that shouldn't be.
Well, and with him going in the G1, all those fresh matchups too.
Well, yeah,
it would probably be him again taking a lot of losses, but having a lot of great credible matches. And if he gets 1 or 2 wins against a current champion, like if Jay White is still the U.S. champion, if Goto is still the Never champion, he could take it. He could potentially challenge for one of those belts, which actually makes a lot of sense for the Never title because it's supposed to be a quote open weight title.
Right.
So that would be a cool thing there from Kushida. Tama Tonga I've got on this potential list with his teammate Tonga Loa. Bad Luck Fale, of course, he's been in it several times. He's obviously in the
he's usually good for a couple points.
Exactly. Togi Makabe, again one of the older participants, but he's been in a bunch of these. He's a guy that he was in last year, of course. Yujiro and Chase Owens, those 2 guys teaming up. Chase is a guy that can take losses. I don't think Chase is going to be in there again with such a loaded list here. Again, I got David Finlay on this list as a potential, but again, with so many names, I think it'd be hard for David Finlay to get in there. Along the lines of Kushida, what if Will Ospreay, the current junior heavyweight champion, puts himself in the G1? That would be really interesting with the junior.
Kind of curious if there's gonna be an oddball with the Chris Sabin, who's gonna be the G1 kind of surprise, or the ACH coming back.
Yeah, maybe a Jay Lethal or somebody like that. Of course, you got your CMLL guys too that are potentials here. But again, this is such a loaded heavyweight division. It's hard to make room for. Again, with only 6 open spots, who do you put in and who do you leave out? The last name I got on here is Satoshi Kojima. Is he going to be ready come G1? Working back from that knee injury. I don't think he will recovery-wise. I think it might be too soon, but he's a guy, again, been in there a bunch of times, and could he come back and make a big run? So, yeah, again, I'll add Jeff Cobb to this list. I think it'd be really cool to see him in there. But, again, what are his situation going on with Lucha Underground? I'm pretty sure they're done taping all that stuff, although I'm not sure. Yeah, because
it's starting up soon, though.
It starts to air in June, so that's all done. But it's a question of whether or not he's contractually obligated to do stuff there or whatever. So yeah, those are my prognostications.
All right.
Let's talk some Ring of Honor. Yeah, it's a huge week for Ring of Honor with the War of the Worlds shows coming up. We are recording this on Wednesday. As we speak, there is one going on right now in Lowell, Massachusetts.
What?
So,
why am I talking to you?
Yeah, get your Honor Club going there, Taco. What are you doing here? Well, let's run before we get into this week's Ring of Honor TV. Let's run down these War of the Worlds shows here, because Taco and I are going to be in Chicago for the one at the Odeum.
Yes, sir.
And that one is the TV taping for the next set of TV shows coming out for Ring of Honor.
So we got like 10 hours of Ring of Honor to sit through.
I'm thinking it's probably going to be at least a 4-hour show, because I think they usually tape 3 or 4 shows. But the good news is, looking at our whiteboard with all the scheduling on it, Ring of Honor does have another TV taping in New York in early June 2nd. Mm-hmm. So maybe just 3 shows or whatever taped at this show. And so it seems like, and again, I haven't been keeping track of when Ring of Honor's been doing TV tapings before, but it's looking like they're doing TV tapings more often. So hopefully that means more relevant TV shows, as it pertains to what's going on Honor Club as well as at the pay-per-views. So this weekend, or coming up today, actually, going on right now as we speak. So by the time you hear this, you can watch it on Honor Club. And by the way, Ring of Honor TV this week talked about an Honor Club app. So what did I do? I went on my Android phone and downloaded this Honor Club app, and it works with Chromecast, which is great.
Nice.
I've been using the Fire TV stick prior to this, using the Silk browser, as it was pointed out as a tip from one of our Twitter followers, which works great. But the Chromecast gimmick works pretty dang good too with using the Ring of Honor app. So I use that to watch TV this week. I'm curious to see how it works with the live shows as well as the other on-demand ones as we go along here. So tonight, the big main event is Dalton Castle versus Matt Taven for the Ring of Honor Championship. Again, I don't see a title change happening here, but I like Taven kind of moving up in the world and challenging in this spot.
Yeah.
Should be kind of cool there. Then the Young Bucks taking on Hiromu Takahashi and Bushi from LIJ. Then Roppongi 3K and Rocky Romero versus Cody, Hangman Page, and Marty Scurll. Should be. I mean, these are again house show style matches, but I'm curious to see how these end up.
Especially when it's like the little tour that they got going on. It's going to stick out a little bit.
Yeah, and such a loaded weekend coming up here too with all of these shows.
We're in for a treat.
Yeah, SoCal Uncensored versus Jay White, Chucky T, and Jay Lethal. 6-man matchup there. Then a straight up tag, the Briscoes, and I believe this is for the championships. Although they don't show the Briscoes with the belts, so who knows. They're taking on Flip Gordon and Jushin Thunder Liger. And then another 6-man match, LIJ's Naito, Sonata, and Evil versus Silas Young, Beer City Bruiser, and Brian Malonis.
All right.
There's a very interesting singles match coming up, too, that I'm a little more excited for. But this tag is a little preview for that. Then a tag division facing off here. The Coast to Coast, who is getting a little push here lately in Ring of Honor, is going to take on 2 members of the Kingdom, the 2 other members, TK Orion and Vinny Marcellia.
All right.
And then we got a match that they've been building up to quite a bit here. Bully Ray versus Cheeseburger.
Oh, he's back.
So how does this play into what's going on with Flip Gordon and all of that? So, yeah, Bully Ray back in ring action here. So that should be that's interesting. And hopefully, again, they haven't addressed this anymore on Ring of Honor TV this week, but is the Enforcer title stripped away from Bully Ray? I suppose that could be a spoiler on this show in Lowell, Mass, maybe getting out before the TV stuff, because there's potentially some news, but I honestly haven't heard anything, but there is another already taped show coming out next week with potentially some news, but I don't know. So
we're good about being spoiler free.
Yeah. So let's see here. Gonna dial up the other show here coming up. I really should have just had the tabs open for this. So the one in Ontario on the 11th, exactly. Okay, main event for that one is for the IWGP US title, Jay White versus Punishment Martinez.
Okay.
Again, not expecting a title change here, but, I mean, these two have some history here in Ring of Honor. They had a hell of a series when Jay White was on Excursion, and I actually saw these two in person have a really good match here in Hopkins, Minnesota. So that should be a good match.
Oh, you went to Ring of Honor for a year? So fucking what?
Then SoCal Uncensored versus Roppongi 3K and Rocky Romero. This is for the 6-man titles, actually.
All right.
So I keep forgetting that SoCal Uncensored is the champions because the Kingdom have stolen the belts. Then an interesting singles match here: Cody versus Jushin Thunder Liger.
Interesting.
The Young Bucks versus Super Smash Brothers. Not really familiar with those guys, but okay. Then, very interesting singles match here: Tetsuya Naito versus the Beer City Bruiser.
Oh, man. Sign me up.
Yeah.
Can I get some T-shirts? I need like a flyer for that.
Yeah, that sounds fun. 6-man match: Hiromu, Sanada, and Bushi. No, I'm sorry, 8-man match: Hiromu, Sanada, Evil, and Bushi versus Dalton Castle, Jay White, Flip Gordon, and that's Kenny King back there in the background.
Oh,
so
that makes
that's
sense.
all right there. And then for the television title, Adam Page is challenging Silas Young. Interesting
all right.
there. Yeah. Yeah, lots of big matches for Hangman Page recently. So good stuff there. Then the show on the 12th. This one, where's this one coming from? The Royal Oak Music Theater. Royal Oak. What the hell town is that? What state is Roy? Is that Michigan? I don't fucking know.
It sounds like a Michigan state.
It does.
Or it's town.
I think it is. There is. Okay, where's the lineup here? Jeez, I am horrible today.
Professionalism.
Speaking of Hangman Page, he's got a match here with Punishment Martinez. Singles match there. And then
a title for title match.
It could be. You never know. Exactly. Hiromu Takahashi is going to take on Cody in a singles match. Evil's taking on Shane Taylor in a singles match. That could be interesting. Then a 4-corner survival match. Who knows if anything is on the line here. It could just be a momentum builder for Marty Scurll. He's in the match versus Kenny King, Jay Lethal, and Matt Taven. So some top guys there in that one there.
I'm not mad at that match at all.
And with Jay Lethal coming out saying he's looking to avenge some losses.
Listen up, wrestling fans.
That he's looking to avenge some of his recent losses and get back in the title picture, according to this week's Ring of Honor television. So then a triple threat tag match: Roppongi 3K, Motor City Machine Guns, and the Young Bucks. That should be really good, actually, with what the Young Bucks did with Roppongi 3K when they were still what were they? The Tempura Boys,
the Pantera Boys,
and they always have pretty good matches with Motor City Machine Guns there. So that should be pretty good on the Saturday show. 6-man tag.
I wish they really were the Pantera Boys.
6-man tag, SoCal Uncensored versus Cheeseburger, Flip Gordon, and Jushin Thunder Liger. That should be fun stuff there. Then the Ring of Honor tag team champions defending against not Hiromu, I'm sorry. It's the Briscoes, the current champs, versus Tetsuya Naito and Bushi. Yeah, it should be fun there. Again, I'm not expecting title changes on any of these shows, but you know what? I think it would be smart for maybe to Ring of Honor to throw one in once in a while. Just do a little Russo in there, just to keep people on their toes. And
it could very well happen on Sunday.
It could, but it's Sunday is different because it's a TV taping, so that won't be on Honor Club. I think we're gonna have to go spoiler free and talk about those shows as they come out on TV, just because.
Be respectful.
Just because, yeah. And Taco and I are also going to attempt to make it to the All In press conference in Chicago earlier that day. Hoping if we show up an hour or so early, that might be hopefully good enough, but I doubt it.
My goal is to shove my phone in Cody's face and just be like, Cody. And then they're like, why? I'd be like, I didn't think this far ahead.
I have no question for you.
No question.
I apologize. So as long as we're maybe we should we not talk about the TV show lineup? Well, I'll say, because it's out there. The big main event for the TV lineup is the Los Ingobernables versus Bullet Club match. It's a 10-man tag. I'm sure it'll be on TV eventually. It's Cody, Hangman Page, the Young Bucks, and Marty Scurll on the other side versus Los Ingobernables. We are going to get the Austin Aries versus Silas Young for the TV title. We're going to have 3 Women of Honor matches. Sumi Sakai defending the championship versus Jenny Rose. They've built that up pretty okay on TV.
I'm going to have that much pee in me to go. No, just kidding. I'm not going to pee break.
The other women's matches, Kelly Klein and Deonna Purrazzo.
All right.
And Karen Q versus Tennille Dashwood. We're going to get Jonathan Gresham versus Flip Gordon on the show.
All right.
That should be pretty good. And the Briscoes defending their tag championships versus Roppongi 3K. So, yeah, it should be good. Chucky T versus Jay Lethal in a singles match. So, yeah, that's just some highlights there of what's going to be on the coming weeks of TV. So should be good stuff there. Let's talk this week's Ring of Honor TV. We brought up a couple of quick points already with the Lethal vowing to get some revenge on some recent losses, wanting to get back in the tag picture. Coast to Coast got another big win here over the Beer City Bruiser and Brian Malonis.
Clearly a big win.
Beer City Bruiser missing that fucking cannonball off the apron to the floor was fucking brutal. I love that stuff. Ali breaks up the big last call maneuver that they hit on LSG, and they continue on to win the match, of course, continuing to build that momentum. We had Little Willie Will Ferrara versus Jonathan Gresham. Jonathan Gresham got the win kind of out of nowhere with a bridging pin. I was kind of expecting a more convincing win from Jonathan Gresham in this match, but it was more about Little Willie kind of holding his own with Jonathan Gresham. I thought it was good. I thought it was a fun match, but I was impressed with Will Ferrara holding his own in the match.
Yeah, I didn't think this match was going to go as long as it did, but I liked everyone on commentary saying that. Duh, he's a fucking badass. We do more than party, we kick ass too. I just gotta say, I love the fucking Dogs intro music. I don't know why. It's just party. Like,
and you know what? Awesome. I've heard people give heat to Rhett Titus and him coming. When he comes out and starts rhyming and being obnoxious, I just get a kick out. Let me get a dilly. This one's for Little Willie. It's like the big dog is hungover. This one's all about Little Willie.
Yeah, they're fucking cracking me up.
Yeah,
so it was good to see. A badass, in the ring.
Yeah, and these guys kind of know their spot too. They're undercard guys, lower card guys, mid card guys, whatever you want to call it. And I think they play that role well on the show. So good stuff there. Cody and Marty Scurll's promo, I really got a kick out of these two. Marty Scurll, adamant in challenging Dalton Castle for the championship at best in the world, but Cody's trying to politic his way. He's like, come on, you had your shot. Come on. It's really about me. I'm the leader of the Bullet Club here. I should get my title shot. Of
course.
So I like what Cody's doing in those promos there. SoCal Uncensored is vowing to get their titles back from the Kingdom. So that's the ongoing story there, of course. This is interesting here because this feels like a bit of a turn for SoCal Uncensored against the Kingdom or whatever. But there's still there's aspects of the Kingdom that I like too. I like some stuff that Matt Taven does. a little bit.
Like, especially on Ring of Honor TV, they were running down what Matt Taven's accomplished and everything, and they're making me believe there's a conspiracy going on.
Right.
Well,
and
on paper there is.
Right, there is indeed a conspiracy going on. These guys deserve their 6-man title shot that they have never received. That's why they stole the belts in the first place. They never lost the titles. So it was so they never got their rematch. They deserve one. It is a conspiracy.
And I got to go to Shane Taylor too. I liked his promo about how he's been paid good from Bullet Club, Kingdom, SoCal, you name it. He's making money, but now he's moving on to that, and about to whoop some ass as he takes some money to protect those championships.
Right, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, that gives Shane Taylor something interesting to do. Like, he's not just him wrestling hasn't really done much for me, but I like that he has this role that he gets paid off by whoever he gets paid off by, and that's who he's working for that night.
I like how his focus is just now on Ring of Honor and taking their money, not hiring these fucking chumps. So it's like the progression of something so silly is like I like where they're going. And like I was saying last week too, like I like what he's been saying on the mic. He's been playing a really good heel.
Yeah, and they told a good story with him this week where he had the squash match, won that with ref stoppage. Again, I like a good ref stoppage now and again.
Yep.
So he won that match, lingers out there. So
especially when it's a good dick kick.
But he lingers out there so that the Kingdom can come out and pay him off to protect the 6-man titles that they rightfully stole. And then that plays into... It is a bit odd that only Christopher Daniels comes to try to take the championships back and not the entirety of SoCal Uncensored, which would probably help against the guy who's out there on his own to protect the titles. But yeah, he comes out by himself. Shane Taylor does his job, earns his paycheck, and keeps Clinton Dix Christopher Daniels away from the championships. So it does good there. And then the Kingdom getting a win here in the main event versus Dalton Castle and the boys. Taven getting a win over Boy number 1. What was I going to get into here? My thoughts. Here are my thoughts though. Dalton Castle and the boys in the 6-man picture. I think I like that more than Dalton Castle as the champion in the main event.
Not feeling the champion.
I love Dalton Castle. Love the gimmick. I love him and the boys. It just doesn't feel main event. And he has good matches. It just when he's acting goofy in his promos, and it just doesn't feel like there's not that air of seriousness, which it's fine, but it's mid-card to me.
It's just right now, especially with Ring of Honor, unfortunately, Ring of Honor just feels like the side piece for the Bullet Club at the moment. And their story is foreshadowing something like that, where I would love a good villain against a good Marty Scurll villain versus Clinton Dix, Dalton Castle. Like right there, just the image of them, versus each other, Peacock versus villain. It's just awesome. Well, and it's just they're not really able to tell that story because we still have Cody lurking there and that whole Bullet Club stuff there. We're more distracted by that than really Dalton Castle really shining as a champion.
Yeah, it is. It's all about the Bullet Club right now, and Marty Scurll definitely feels like the more popular guy in Ring of Honor, and all signs are pointing to him and his championship, or him challenging for the championship at best in the world. He rightfully has that opportunity, even though Cody's trying to get in there. But I'm going to say something that might be a little unpopular here.
The bullshit continues.
I kind of think Marty Scurll is kind of on that same level as a Dalton Castle, where he has entertaining matches. He's good. He can put on really good matches, but is he main event guy? Is he top champion guy? He's a goofball. He's funny. He acts like a goof, especially with the stuff on being the elite. Is he championship material? So that's why I see Cody, coming back into the mix. Cody feels like, as much as Cody is such a great heel, he makes me hate him. I don't want to see, as a fan, in storyline sense, kayfabe wise, I don't want to see that fucker with the championship. But Cody really feels like the biggest star in Ring of Honor right now. You could build up a guy like Hangman Page, which they are doing. You can build up a guy like Punishment Martinez, although his Ring of Honor's Undertaker gimmick or whatever, I'm not a big fan of. But again, you can build him up. But yeah, Marty Scurll doesn't necessarily feel like much of a shift away from what Dalton Castle is in this case. So,
I hear you there.
So, but again, I think the fans are clamoring for something different, and I think the Bullet Club fandom would really be behind Marty Scurll as champion. So we'll see what they do here. Getting back to this Kingdom Dalton Castle and the boys situation, I like that it played into what they're doing this weekend. Tonight, as we speak, the Matt Taven challenging Dalton Castle for the championship. Dalton, and I'll say this about Dalton too, because this is something that I talked about a long time ago. Dalton Castle is still selling that his fingers are broken from whatever it was, Super Card of Honor.
Yeah.
So he's still coming out with his fingers all fucking taped up. I wonder if he'll come out with it tonight, because the consistency between because the TV was taped closer to the pay-per-view.
It was, yes.
But with him having it taped on TV this week, does he come out with them taped on the house show tonight for Honor Club?
Or maybe they're magically healed.
Well, they should be healed by now, because there has been that time difference. But with Ring of Honor kayfabe, storytelling-wise, or trying to, the story the Ring of Honor is telling is that the TV is consistent week to week with what's going on. So does he still come out with the... So, but I
love the idea of him babying such a little injury, though, on a week-to-week basis.
Well, it was something that for most of the time it's a small injury, but this one time it really fucked up Dalton Castle's hand, and he's got to have it taped up for weeks. So he's selling. I love that he's selling the injury. And this week, before Matt Taven's match, they took advantage of it on TV. They beat up Dalton after the match. They quote Pillmanized his hand in the chair, fucked it up even more. So I imagine his hand will still be all taped up, selling that angle from the TV show, and that'll come into play in their match on tonight's War of the Worlds show. What if they do change the title to Matt Taven and just throw everything for a loop? All of a sudden, the Kingdom and Matt Taven is the champion, and the conspiracy is... That just doesn't make any sense.
See, that's the
that would not make any fucking sense.
It would, no, but that's the thing with someone like a Dalton Castle being the champion of Ring of Honor, is it's believable if a Silas Young, a Matt Taven, you name it, in Ring of Honor, even Kenny King, just them, they're believable in that realm of winning that championship, where someone like Cody comes along. It's almost a Brock Lesnar effect, where it's like, oh, we got to bring in like a Kenny Omega to get that off of him or something extreme. Right. So that's kind of, like it's good that's on Dalton Castle. You're building, that stardom, the Martinez, like you were just saying, and building up those guys.
Well, and even getting back to that thought of building up a guy, I think they could even go back to a Jay Lethal at this point. He still feel like him talking on Ring of Honor TV this was. He said, like, I'm lost without Ring of Honor gold.
Yeah, no.
And so, and I agree with that sentiment, and I could see him rising back into that picture.
I'm excited to see this rise to put him into a real title spot instead of, oh, hey, remember me? I used to be a title contender. Quick match, lose, good match. He never disappoints. But I'm excited this time around for his the rebuild of Jay Lethal. In a sense.
He had such a great run with the title, so many great matches, and I think Ring of Honor needs that star at the top that's like, yeah, man, I'm the champ, I'm the greatest. You challenge me, I put you down, and it would be cool to see him go on another another year-long run. And it's like, who's going to step up and take this guy out?
And Ring of Honor has always been that company with those guys winning the championship.
So I think they could probably tell a story building towards the end of the year, maybe at Final Battle or maybe earlier. Certainly is a possibility. But they're going to tell the Jay Lethal redemption story or whatever, him getting back into the title picture. Obviously, Cody is trying to get back into the title picture himself, and does that cause friction between him and Scurll? Obviously, you've already got the friction between Cody Cody and Kenny Omega going on. So Cody continuing to, be a thorn in the side of all things Bullet Club could play into Cody regaining the Ring of Honor Championship and Jay Lethal rising to the occasion to take it back from him, and then him rising to the top of the card again. Because I think that would be a great spot for Jay Lethal if he decides to stay with Ring of Honor, that is, and not go to NXT like so many other Ring of Honor top stars the last couple of years. That's the thing, is NXT has really left Ring of Honor just hurting for star power at this point. It's all Bullet Club, So
nothing new.
Let's talk Being the Elite. It's back. Save the best for last week, right? But it was cool because this week's Being the Elite was kind of all about just Being the Elite coming back. We had a new intro video from it. Before the intro, it was about Flip convincing the Young Bucks to restart this. Like, we're not going to do it. We don't need to do it anymore. But then Flip's like, well, what about your dwindling merchandise sales? Like, yeah, we're starting the show back up. So Marty Scurll, he gets fired from his $5 million music contract. So he doesn't tell anybody about it. So he's like, yeah, I'm really busy, but if you need me for something on Being the Lead, I can make that work.
Squeeze you would.
Yeah, I can make it work. Hangman Page runs into Lanny Poffo backstage, ends up accidentally knocking out Jay Lethal by he goes to leave, and as he goes through the door hits Jay Lethal in the face, knocking him out, and then Lanny Poffo comes through the door and he's like, "Oh my God, Jay Lethal, are you okay?" And Jay Lethal's like, he shakes his head, he shakes off the cobwebs, looks up at Lanny Poffo, and he's like, "Brother." So a fun little deal there. Joey Ryan's quote-unquote hot wife calls Cody, and she's asking, where's Joey Ryan? And Hangman Page is sitting next to Cody, sweating bullets. He's like, I don't know anything about Joey Ryan. So the Hangman Page murdering Joey Ryan saga continues there. Cody is practicing a campaign speech for possibly running for some sort of office in 2020 in Texas, of all places. Maybe that's where he lives. And then Kenny Omega receives an urgent package from the Young Bucks, but he doesn't open it. He leaves it as a teaser, just sets it in his bag. So
it's very bituminous of them.
But yeah, it's a very urgent package from the Young Bucks. Perhaps it's the Young Bucks explaining their position, saying we got to get back on the same page with this. We're against Cody. We don't like Cody.
Maybe it's a cheesecake and you just fucking ruined it by not opening it.
So yeah, I'm so glad that Being the Elite is back. It's such a fun, easy watch. Week to week, so I'm happy that it's back, and we can tie all things Bullet Club between Ring of Honor, New Japan, and everything else.
Fill in the gap.
So, yeah, fun stuff. All right, let's get out of here. Before we do, let's do the Kojima tweet.
Now it's time for the Satoshi Kojima Tweet of the Week.
Yeah, we're all Bread fans here on Strong Honor. But Kojima, who's recovering from his surgery again, he's trying to make a big comeback. But because he's being silent on Twitter more often than not, he's losing his followers. And he tweeted about it. He wants people to come back to him. He says, "My followers are gone. Perhaps I do not talk about bread. Everyone, do not leave me. Even though I do not talk, I always eat bread. Believe me." So that's it from Kojima there. So tune in every week for the best of Kojima right here on Strong Honor. Go to stronghonor.com. You can find this podcast there. All the back episodes of Best Pro Wrestling Podcast, where we talk about all the other stuff in the world, mostly WWE, though, over there. I'm dying over here. And then, follow this show at Strong Honor on Twitter, and then follow me at Tommy Stryker. I'm fucking brain farting over here.
Lost it.
At Tommy Stryker. Spell Stryker with a Y. I just ran out of gas here at the end of the show. Strong Honor Podcast at gmail.com. Facebook.com/Strong Honor Podcast. Join the conversation. Give us your feedback. Let us know what you like about the show, what you don't like about the show, what you want us to do more of, less of, all of that. And just get into it with us, and we'll have a chat on the social medias. Taco, where can people find you?
Follow me on that Twitter at at HGREV Taco.
And I want to reassure all the listeners that Joe is fine. He's planning on being back. He had to go to a concert with the wife. He's still on assignment, still taking. He's not sick. He's not actually dealing with liver issues and all of that stuff.
Nah, he just pooped himself.
But he'll
got
be
diarrhea.
He'll be back sooner than later. So yeah, check out Joe at Joe BPWP on Twitter. Joe, Best Pro Wrestling Podcast are those initials there. So thanks for checking out the show. Make sure you rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, but especially on iTunes. That's it. Bye.
Peace.
A bunch of grown men playing dress up.
Professional wrestling is a fight. Hasta jueves. Adios.
You'd hear in the background like, "Hey, who that? Oh yeah. Hello, and then dip out, and then just terrible rap music just blaring in the background. It's like it's 2 a.m.